And just like that, it's a Gug! Hello, everybody! It's Kamen Rider Gatchard episode 48, and this is the video review that goes along with it that I make. Wahoo! We get back to the show with Rene being whisked away to the evil plans as Grayon goes, finds, and slams on Fugo's door. Hey, my daughter's in trouble, your daughter's in trouble, I know I'm kind of evil, let's work together so we can solve this. And Fugo's like, I know I need to save my daughter, but I am very wary of where you're coming from, but you know what? I need to be the bigger man right now and just kind of do it. Also, he saved Spanner. Spanner is being taken care of in a random ass warehouse off in wherever it is. And you know what? If I had a nickel for every time a tertiary rider was saved and brought back to health in a random warehouse, I'd have 2 nickels. And I may have more, but it's strange that it happened to me twice this year. But they go to enact their plan, but if it's all a trap, the fortune teller basically says, like, hey, I'm gonna play a little fucking game, because I'm Jigsaw now. You two are glued to the floor, and here's a gun, and you're playing Russian roulette. And the daughters, Rene and Atropos, basically go like, yeah, this is kind of fucked because Grayon is way more likely to actually kill your dad than your dad is to kill him. That's kind of bullshit. This kind of sucks. As we also get a little flashback of Grayon trying to explain his motivations of going like, I knew I was a doll, but I was jealous of you and your daughter, so I wanted to make my own daughter. And it's just like, oh, you know what? That makes sense. Hotaro shows up. He can't get into the little dimension that they have because of what he wasn't there to set up, and then only the things that are needed for the game are in there. And it's like, okay, he transforms into the gun form, sneaks in, and it's like, haha, I'm smart and clever. I know how to use my abilities to the best of my the best of them. They get poofed away to the fight location. As it turns out, Grayon is actually a rat bastard. He lied the entire time. He doesn't care about Atropos. She's just a tool. So he activates his powers to turn her into the big weapon of war, but just with him in control. And yeah, everyone's like, fuck you, Grayon. This is bullshit. Atropos is heartbroken. Fugo tries to fight Grayon. Everybody starts fighting, right? Everybody is trying to fight. Rene starts fighting. Hotaro starts fighting. And Rene resolves herself, tries to fight, she gets knocked down. That's when Atropos goes like, you know what? I have been a little bit of a bitch. And she sacrifices herself for Rene, protecting her from a big final blast, and transferring enough of her power into Rene so she can unlock a final form. As she transforms into Majade Twilight, and it looks great, it looks wonderful, it looks amazing, and she just curb stomps the fortune teller. The fortune teller also has like a great little arc of a moment of like, nothing can defeat fate, and then because she can only see the fate of Rene and not Atropos, who is also in her now, she can't tell the futures apart, all that kind of stuff. That's interesting, that's an interesting thought. And she also like relents of like, we can't turn away fate, and that's why humanity is so shit, and that's why I rejected my humanity and all this different kind of stuff. As Rene kind of accepts Atropos into her, which can have a lot of different metaphors and meanings, and Grayon is absorbing the remaining power from the fortune teller. However, he gets stopped from that by Giggist. And he goes like, hey, guys, remember me? I'm still here. I absorb the power. And it looks like we are going to have an abyss war between them with our little alchemy crew stuck in the middle. Oh boy. So first things first, we got to talk about the themes and analysis and stuff. So this is going to be a little scattershot because it's doing several different things in several different ways here. So first things first. There's a lot of different ways that themes are being played with here, because on one level, Rene is exercising self-empathy, and like coming to an understanding of where Atropos is as a doll. Atropos is as like a younger version of herself. And the layers of abuse that she suffered, and kind of going like, okay, I understand where you're coming from, and I know you can be better, and it's accepting, and it's like radical forgiveness, all this kind of stuff. And by fundamentally showing empathy to Atropos, she's able to grow in a way she wasn't able to, because her father had to leave when she was young. I wouldn't say she was stunted, she grew up, but she never got a chance to, like, there's a layer of development that wasn't there. But by being able to accept Atropos and understand all these different nuances of empathy, of self, of love, of care, of the relationship she has with her father, she is able to connect and grow and all this different kind of stuff, partially because of how Hotaro has affected her as a person, and reconnecting with her dad. She's able to help that little girl that's inside her, you know what I mean? So they're able to combine Intimate Jade Twilight with the understanding of the darker parts of the self. Meanwhile, Grayon has just gone full abusive manipulator monster with a mix of nihilistic death cult. It is very much like fuck humanity. I don't want to say it's anti-natalist because it's too broad to just be anti-natalist. If you don't know, anti-natalist is people who are just adamantly against the creation of babies. So he has all this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter who he hurts, as long as he fundamentally gets to his end goal, which at the end of it all is to destroy others. So why should he care about hurting others? It also, seemingly emboldened by his time at the academy, we get that flashback, and it seems like, oh, is there a little bit of truth to that? And it's like, no, it seems more of like he was like just put off. It was disgusting to him, and it was just a useful tool. It was very much like, you know how some parents have kids just so they have people to work for them and a retirement plan? That's a Grayon. That's Grayon. It's just like, kid's a good idea. They could do shit for me. And I think a lot of this may be, like we're saying, like emboldened by his time at the academy, because he might have either rejected the empathy or hated the empathy that was shown to him, because he recognizes that he's a doll. So it could be like and Fugo seemed to be like ready and willing to work with him, and there could be a level of like, screw you, I'm a doll, why the fuck are you treating me like this? Or like, oh, you're not being genuine with this, you're just as wrong and fucked up as I am, and rejecting it wholesale. There's multiple layers to that. Fundamentally, he's a very hateable person, and he hates a lot of people. Meanwhile, the fortune teller Abyss King fundamentally believes that humanity is ruled by fate to hate and attack and to be antagonistic to each other. So much so that she removed her own humanity in order to avoid that fate. And fundamentally, the characters in whole show her that empathy is powerful, that it can be a connecting, driving force of power, but also that Jade Twilight herself, with the inner child and Rene working in tandem to befuddle her, shows her that her blind faith in destiny is flawed, that her entire worldview can be broken down in such a spectacular way. This was a great episode. I love our heroes just caring so much, just like caring about each other, caring about their chemies, just like real quick, the trailer for gavv has come out, and it is extremely hilarious how this whole season is like empathy and caring and connecting to others, and the collectible gimmick is like little characters that they all get attached to. And then you have gavv, which looks to be, oh, all of the little creatures are incredibly disposable, and you just eat them, and they're gone. You kill them. And I think that's kind of funny. But our heroes just care so much about each other. They even care about the bad guys. Like, the seconds the bad guys are going like, yeah, no, I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of that, they're like, yeah, sure. Yo, Grayon, you want to save your daughter? Sure, let's go save your daughter. Oh, Atropos is concerned about her dad? Yeah, let's go save your dad, you know? And while that isn't always going to result in them having a good time, it is an admirable trait, I believe. An interesting situation at the beginning of the big climax fight, because we had 3 different plans. We had the fortune teller, her plan, we had Grayon and his plan, and then the Academy just kind of like in the middle of it all. And it's interesting how fundamentally our crew had to help Grayon, because his plan was the only one kind of keeping them both alive at the time, while the fortune teller was very much, no, I'll just kill one of them right now. And it's just interesting, like, 3 different plans, and the heroes had to keep one of them going in the meantime to solve the whole thing. It's like, it's interesting. It's a good writing trick. Good writing. Majay Twilight looks great, looks wonderful, an amazing suit. When it was just still photos, the white didn't look great, but in motion, it looks 10 times better. It looks great in motion. I love how it ties into her arc and her story and her connection with Atropos, all this different kinds of stuff. Been seeing from production notes why it is so late in the season. I totally understand it, because their mindset was, we want a final form that just doesn't lose, because it is like an ultimate form. And if you introduce it earlier, you're going to have it lose a couple fights, right? Or else the show will get boring. So push it back to later so it can have the impact it needs. I understand that. And maybe I would have accepted a lot more. Like, I accepted like 90%. It's like, yeah, you know, that vibes. That checks out for like 90%. And I think the 10% would be like, maybe like some more overt hinting. Because looking back, they did have some hinting, but they didn't hint at what it could be. They were just hinting like, oh, Rene and Atropos have a unique connection. You know, like, if they just tipped their hand just a little bit more, I think this would have felt more satisfying. It makes sense now. All of it tracks. It's good now that we know where they were leading up to. I just think knowing we were going in this direction could have alleviated some of the, oh, Atropos is not Atropos. Rene seems to not be getting a ton of stuff, you know? You know? But you know what? If you want, you can support me here on YouTube. Like the video, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on a variety of social media platforms, Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon. All the links are down below. And if you want, you can also go support me on Patreon. As little as $1 a month will get you 4 exclusive videos. I will be reviewing episode by episode Kamen Rider 5. So if you're interested in seeing my opinions on that, you can go over there, $1 a month, get you those. And as I've mentioned a couple times, I will be reviewing gavv. I will not be doing it here on YouTube. They will be on Patreon, free and public. You don't have to pay me money to see those. You just go on the Patreon page and you can see them. Okay? Yeah. But, last week got real wonky with the videos. So, we're going to be doing 2 videos worth of comments. First up, from episode 46, from the commenter, Just Some Random Guy. Yeah, pointing out just how power-hungry people can be is a great counterpoint to all the, like, empathy and, like, oh, if we just learn about each other and care about each other, everything will be good. And it's just Hotaro really learning how difficult his dream will fundamentally be. Because, realistically, throughout the show, he's only met the most well-intentioned people. But he is being confronted with this negativity, and it's cool to see how his optimism is holding through, though. Next up from Fish Pop. Yeah, they've been hinting a lot about the connection between Rina and Atropos. And it's good. It's been, like, they were being good and solid about it, but that dress the last couple episodes really just is like, hey, this is important. This is a connection. You need to be aware of it, right? And yeah, the whole thing about laws and budget and not being able to do bikes all the time is kind of sucks. It does put a hamper on a huge aspect that's fun about Kamen Rider. And it's not like they can just make an entire city backlot like they do with samurai movies with the Edo set, right? I don't know. There has to be a way to have their cake and eat it too. You know? I don't know. I mean, they're doing enough in on location sets that aren't in residential areas. They could probably get away with some more bike stunts. I don't know. I would like to see more bike stuff. I understand why they don't do more bike stuff. C'est la vie. Next up from... Yeah, that little girl who made the Hopper 1 plush really deserves to get to meet the real Hopper 1. And I kind of hope all the friendly humans we've met along the way get a chance to, like, connect with the Chemies once more. I think it'd be nice, really hammer home the empathetic connections and everything. And I do like... you mentioned how Hotaro was doing the untransformed fight scene. You know what? I gotta hand it to Gatchard. It isn't falling into final form syndrome. You know, like when past forms kind of get put to the wayside whenever the final form gets introduced. Like, they never get touched again. Because older forms get reused through Chemi dupes, right? Or just needing the tools of an older suit, or the newer suit has a fundamental flaw that gets exploited, so they have to use something else. I think that's good. I think it's clever. I think it's a good use of the suits. I think, you know, it works. It works. And yeah, the influencer guy, the actor flubbing a line and then just putting it like the chat saying, "Oh, you messed up the name of your show, haha." That's cute. That's cute editing. That's good job, editors. That's funny. That's good. I love cute things like that. But we do have some comments from the video where we talked about episode 47. So, up again. Hey, if you had a nickel for every time you were in this video, just some random guy, you would have 2 nickels. Yeah, I think that's really admirable of that episode, where they're very clearly making Spanner the bad guy for the episode, but he's never a bad guy. It is very clear that we all understand his motivations, why he's coming at it, why he thinks it's the right thing to do. And we're just sitting here going like, no, my dude, this is not the way you should do it. Oh no, right? And it's just kind of like reinforcing a thing that we've seen in Spanner repeatedly, that he has a very sort of toxic mindset on himself, right? That it seems like he sees himself only in the same way that he looks at Chemies, that they're only tools to be used. He sees himself very much in the same way, that his biggest worth is sacrificing himself so that others may be able to live. And how fundamentally, when you're in that kind of deep of a mindset, knocking you down is really the only way to go about it. It's like, you know, they're on the edge of the bridge, and they're not being willing to be talked down. You grab them by the fucking shirt and you pull them back. You know what I mean? But also, it's like, again, the episode repeatedly shows of like, Spanner is wrong. People will miss him. People care about him. Him being self-sacrificial is fundamentally a selfish desire, you know. But next comment from Joseph. Yeah, Gotchard has been a pretty good, solid little season. It's been a very cozy season. When it first started, I felt like, oh, this is just taking me back and reminded me of like Double O's Forza, that little era of Heisei. You know, it's like, yeah, this is cool. And I think it's partially just because it's so episodic. It's just like little tiny adventures with a cast of characters you get to know. But yeah, agreed. The gavv trailer, it's getting me pretty excited. It's doing a lot of interesting things. I also find it funny that we now are 3 for 3 with goth families. the G seasons stands for goth. Next up from Slime Beast. Yeah, Spanner did spend the entire episode being like super punchable, super dickhead, right? But fundamentally, he didn't get full unredeemable, right? You still understand him. He can still be pulled back. Just towing the line just enough to be able to see where he's coming from, but also go like, no, that's a bad idea. What the fuck is wrong with you? Let Hotaro say fuck. Let Hotaro say one fuck, and this season would be perfect. But yeah, no, that's what Hotaro's very big thing was. It's like, Spanner, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just fucking accept that people care about you. Stop it. Next up from Fish Pop. Oh, hey, you can double. Yeah, there's a lot of comments for this video. Heck of a lot of comments. But yeah. Spanner's belt being broken definitely probably leads to the power-up. Like, Kyoka probably goes like, you, my dumb little brother, you dumb little fuck. Here you go. Here's a brand new power-up, spick and span for you. Go fight the bad guys. And before this episode, the dress was very much nailing the costume. There's something going on. There's a weird connection between them. Now we know what the whole connection is. The doll, the thing, and now, hey, Atropos is part of Rine, and she can fully heal as a person. She wasn't in the kind of same vein as like Spanner was earlier, where he was like, I am fundamentally broken because I wasn't able to process and heal from grief. She's a lot better positioned. It's much more, her characterization with Atropos is much more along the lines of like accepting the bad things that happened to you as a child and not letting that hold you down. You know? That kind of thing. And finally, from Esconde. See, that's the really cool thing about art. The creators were making Spanner and going like, oh, he's a Vegeta, he's a rival, he's Shadow the Hedgehog, he's all this different kind of stuff. But as they write the character more and more, they realize, oh no, he's the older brother that's putting a lot on his shoulders to protect these younger siblings. And that weight is crushing him, you know? And that says a lot, especially because, like, Hotaro's, I wouldn't say he's a prodigy, but he's, like, really good at alchemy. He immediately picks it up and is immediately able to think in different ways and is able to do it. And Spanner's, like, this little fucking asshole, you know? And it's just, it's an interesting thing. And it's nice to go, like, oh, he was trying to self-sacrifice, all this different kind of stuff, and Hotaro's just like, hey, rely on us, you can rely on us, you can work with us, you know? And all these Russians bottle up and explode out, you know? He just has to, like, he has learned to accept and care about other people, he just has to learn to accept that other people care about him. Yeah, and with the whole thing, power to humanity and everything, Hotaro's realizing that Kimmy's and humans getting along, there's a lot to go with it, right? But hey, the wrestler guy comes back and he's totally on board, and it's just like, he's super optimistic and Spanner is super nihilistic about it, that they do need to kind of, not nihilistic, pessimistic about it, that they do kind of need to work together in order to accomplish the goal, because, like, yeah, Kimmys are dangerous, and if in the wrong hands, bad things will happen. But you can't just expect everything to be rainbows and sunshine like Hotaro, and you can't be like Spanner, who goes like, alright, I'm just gonna kill myself and all the Kimmys so there won't be a problem, right? It's a nice, interesting contrast, and it really shows how, like, they need to work together, and Rine also needs to be a part of it, because she's very pragmatic about it all, you know? she's very much like the mediator between those two extremes of like Kimmies are good and friends and they can be friends, but we need to be careful that they don't like, you know, she's been the mediators and Hodoro and Spanner have been the extremes of these thoughts and ideas. But on that finale of thoughts and ideas, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good day and a rest of the week. Remember, follow me on social media platforms and like and subscribe. I'd like to give a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Esconde.